Meeting to order, Harlem Consolidated School District Organizational Meeting, Monday, May 11th, 2020. And we will start with the roll call.
Mr. Barger.
Here.
Mrs. Brogan.
Here.
Dr. Flanagan.
Here.
Mr. Sterling.
Here.
Mr. Meister.
Here.
Jill Brogan.
Here.
Mrs. Meeks here.
Chris Arduino, recording secretary. She doesn't have a mic. Julie Morris, superintendent.
Michelle Erb, curriculum and instruction.
Josh Rand, business and operations.
Scott Rollinson, human resources.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Bloom has figured out a way for us to have a flag, so we are going to have a pledge of allegiance. There it is, if everyone can see that.
Yep.
So I suppose we should stand up and we will say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the
flag of the United States of America
And
to the republic
which is
Under God.
liberty and justice
For all.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason. That worked well. Okay, can we get a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
Motion.
Second. Mrs. Brogan.
Can I step in, please? We do have a change.
Okay,
We have no facility requests, so we need to omit 9B2 and 10B.
Aye.
Do you have to do a motion to accept changes?
yes, we do. We'll have to take, we'll start over with a motion to accept the agenda with the noted removal of no facility requests.
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Brogan.
Aye.
Dr. Flanagan.
Aye.
Mr. Sterling.
Aye.
Mr. Meister.
Aye.
Jill Brogan.
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks. Aye. Mr. Barger.
Aye. Okay. We need a motion and a second to approve meeting minutes, regular and closed, from April 20th, 2020.
Motion. Second. Dr. Flanagan.
Aye.
Mr. Sterling.
Aye.
Mr. Meister.
Aye.
Jill Brogan.
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks. Aye. Mr. Barger.
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan.
Aye.
Okay, we have no awards of recognition and no comments from the community. So we turn it over to Mr. Rand for the approval of bills.
All right. Thank you very much.
Actually, isn't Jason doing something with awards and recognitions?
It is?
He's
I do
the
have a
first-
few.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. No problem. All right, I'm just going to pull these up real quick. So we have a couple recognitions tonight. I'm just going to go through them quickly. One of them being our Harlem girls bowling team. We didn't get a chance to invite them in after their second place finish at the IHSA state competition. This team, as you know, has been incredibly successful over the past handful of years, and so they've continued that success again this season. I do want to note that they had two in the top 10 for the individual competition, and that was Olivia in third place and Paige in sixth place. And again, this team is coached by Jim Heathscott. We also want to recognize our boys bowling team. We tried to have them in a while back, and there was some conflicting schedule stuff, and so I just wanted to recognize them quickly. They finished seventh place at the state competition, but they also had a student that won the individual championship, Ethan. So congratulations to Ethan. And this team is coached by Nick Whitmire. We also had two students qualify from our math team for the state competition in math, Aiden Harris and Seth Grassi. They qualified at the RVC regionals. Their competition was supposed to be May 2nd, and unfortunately that has been canceled. As I was looking at the website, it does not look like they have a date for rescheduling that. So I feel bad for those two. But they had a great run. They did well at some of the competitions throughout the year as well. And then their team did really well. And then as you can see there, they also had a second place finish at regionals with their fresh soft math team. So congratulations to them. Their coaches are Rohini Gupta and Rhonda Hoffbauer. So congratulations to our math team on a great season. And then lastly, I wanted to just recognize, and this will come up in one of my quarterly reports, but we had a donation from the Harlem Roscoe Firefighters Association. Each year they do an annual golf outing. And this year they donated $4,000 to the Harlem School District. They've been splitting that up between Harlem and Hononegah. They're two service area districts. And so this year the money was donated, and they asked us actually to go a different route this year. Last year they purchased Chromebooks for a classroom in the school district. This year they wanted to donate money towards something to do with trades. And so we actually purchased a spray booth and oven for our welding department. And so I know that Bill Duncan is really excited. We've got a phenomenal welding program, and so it's a great addition to their program. So I want to give a huge thank you to the Harlem Roscoe Firefighters Association for their donation of $4,000. I put their website up there. They are going to host as of now, host their golf outing later this June. And so I hope that that's able to go off, because again, they've over the past few years have donated anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000 to the Harlem School District. So a big thank you to them. And that ends my report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bloom. Now on to Mr. Rand for approval of the bills.
Josh, you're muted.
Sorry, I'll restart that again. Total payables for this period were $440,118.43. Void checks were $1,190.44. There was one payroll for the period in the amount of $2,779,619.50. For total expenditures of $3,219,737.93. Split out by fund, the education fund paid $2,698,943.29. The tort fund paid $29,077.17. The operations and maintenance fund paid $240,599.90. The debt service fund paid $1,000. The transportation fund paid $145,748.79. The IMRF Social Security fund paid $104,368.78. Again, for total expenditures of $3,219,737.93. Are there any unanswered bill questions? Larry, I'd just like to note that no one left before or after I read the bills.
I'm not so sure that's accurate. I think I hear snoring though. Can we get a motion and a second to approve the bills?
Motion.
Second. Mr. Sterling,
Aye.
Mr. Meister,
Aye.
Jill Brogan,
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Barger,
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan,
Aye.
Dr. Flanagan.
Aye.
Okay, we'll move on to communication and committee reports, and I will start that off. Start by congratulating our girls bowling team for another successful season. Congratulations to our boys bowling team and our individual champion there, Ethan. Congratulations to our math team, and unfortunately they weren't able to continue their season, but still very well done. I'd like to thank the Harlem Roscoe firefighters for their continued support of all that we do in the district. Very much appreciated. Let's see, board meeting evaluation reports. I didn't get any of those emailed over. If you could try to remember to do that after the meeting, I would appreciate it. Our next regular board meeting is Tuesday, May 26th at 6 p.m. Education Committee is currently scheduled for June 17th at 6 p.m. And the Policy Committee meeting is June 22nd at 6 p.m. And that is all I have. Mrs. Sue Brogan, how about your report?
Good evening, everyone. I also would like to ditto on Larry. Congratulations to the boys and girls bowling, the math team. Thank the Harlem Roscoe firefighters for the donation. Our next business service meeting is June 10th at 6 p.m. And I think that's all I have.
Thank you. Mrs. Meeks, your report.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, and I want to thank Jason for the nice flag we got to see and do our Pledge of Allegiance this evening. I also want to congratulate the girls bowling team for placing, was it second place? I also want to thank the individual Olivia for third and Paige for sixth. I also want to thank the boys bowling team for placing seventh and the individual Ethan. Also to the math team, as Larry stated, sorry they weren't able to to finish their season, but a well job done. Also, a big hearty congratulations and thank you to the Harlem Roscoe Firefighters Association for the donation. They do a wonderful thing for us, and I just want to tell them congratulations and thank you. I also want to thank the administrators and the staff for last week, the wonderful hearty welcome that they gave us as we came in, the seniors, to get their caps and gowns and their graduation announcements and their yearbooks. They did a wonderful job, and it was just nice seeing them out there standing in their different little masks and flags and balloons and stuff. It was really nice to see that, and I just want to tell them thank you again. I also want to just tell everyone that I know it's hard for us to be in this little virtual thing, but I'll be so glad when we all can get together again. But otherwise, we just have to do what we have to do and follow rules and stay safe. So that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sterling, your report.
Nothing to report.
All right, thank you. Yes, Jill Brogan, your report.
First, I would like to say congratulations to the girls and the boys bowling teams. Great job. Great job to the individuals. Congratulations to the math team and Aiden and Seth. I want to say thank you to the Harlem Roscoe Firefighters Association for the donation. Thank you to the drivers and the staff and their families that came out and did the parade, and the police department. It was awesome, and seeing all the teachers and their families and the signs, it was definitely great to see, and everybody coming out of their house and watching. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Meisner, your report.
Thank you, Larry. I'd like to congratulate both the girls and the boys bowling team for their great finish placings. Also, the math team, great job. And I want to say a huge thank you to the Harlem Roscoe Firefighters Association for their generous $4,000 donation. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Flanagan, your report.
Much like fellow board members, I'd like to congratulate the bowling teams on their accomplishments, as well as the math team. And hopefully the math team can find some closure here as we round out the end of the school year. And again, thank you to the Firefighters Association of Harlem Roscoe for the generous support and donation to our district. I would also like to just mention a really warm thank you and appreciation to our food service department and all of the preparation that they have been doing these past weeks, and even for those of us who are at the meeting tonight that have been helping out, as well as the other staff and faculty members who have been helping out weekly. I can't imagine what kind of preparation it is to have that many lunches and breakfasts for the entire week ready by 9 o'clock in the morning on Monday. And so beyond those tremendous efforts, I think that they've just done an exceptional job keeping those meals balanced and really keeping our community going through this time. So thank you to the food service department, as I do also thank all of the staff and faculty who are continuing to go outside the box and to find new and innovative ways to be sure that education is happening even in these tough times. So thank you to teachers and faculty and staff and administration.
Thank you. Dr. Herb, your report.
Thank you. I actually have 3 different items this evening. The first one is an overnight travel. Right now, coaches do not have any contact. They cannot have any contact with their athletes. So whether or not the bowling team will be able to take place in this national competition is still unknown, but they did want to bring it to the board ahead of time and hope that we will be able to participate in this, and that coaches and athletes will be able to be in contact with one another again. So I'm going to ask for approval based on the hope that this will be able to take place in July. Is there any questions about the travel? All right, then I'm going to move into my second item. My second item has to do with the graduation requirements. With COVID-19, the Illinois State Board of Education has made some changes in their requirements for the graduating class of 2020. And the reason for that is if they had been passing everything, and I'll use English for example, you need 4 credits of English to graduate. If you had 3.5 credits and then third quarter you struggled and was failing, it's really hard to bring yourself back up, especially under the current situation. The state has gone through and they changed some of their graduation requirements, which I put in the chart in this memo. Something that has also happened recently is that we have looked at our own graduation requirements, which has been 26, and evaluated or compared ourselves to the area districts to find out that we were the highest in the area based off of the 0.5 system. And we were also putting our students in a situation in which it was difficult for them to be able to do internship opportunities for our pathways. So actually, it was in April, we ended up having our final reading to approve policy 6300, which changed our graduation requirements from 26 to 24, starting with the graduating class of 2021, so our current juniors. What I am proposing based off of the changes from the state is that we make our current seniors also on that 24 credits as we are with all of our other classes. That aligns with what changes ISB has made as far as their graduation requirements. And when asked, they said this is a local decision because we determine the number of credits. We go above and beyond the state requirements. So it would be the board's decision whether or not for the class of 2020 to make this change. So again, based off of the fact that that's what we have for the rest of our classes, and it is difficult if you had a rough third quarter to get yourself back up, I am proposing that change. Does anybody have any questions?
Great.
All right, hearing none, then I am going to go to my third item. My third item is summer school updates. Back at the December Education Committee meeting, we brought forward our proposal for summer school. At that time, we figured we would have our regular sale summer school, middle school skill building, and our high school summer school program. Due to the fact that we cannot have face-to-face contact, we are recommending that we extend the period of time and go remote. So the recommendation is to offer at the elementary level from June 1st through July 17th. And this would be online. We would have a teacher who would provide some feedback as far as how students are doing with their iReady lessons. And we would have other activities that would be available to them. Because of the fact that online would be needed, students who sign up for this would be allowed to keep their district issued Chromebooks they're currently using through the 17th, and collection would take place the following week. Our summer skill building, we would not change any of the dates. That actually goes a week longer than the elementary, but they also have a break in the middle, and their remote learning would also take place online. High school would be using Edgenuity, which is a resource they already use. They have been doing it in a blended environment for the most part. However, it would be completely online where the teachers would, again, provide the services. We have never offered kindergarten summer skill building before, but we really felt that due to the fact that there hasn't been that continuity that we would have liked for this school year, we would like to offer that to them as well. Title I is still the funding source for grades 1 through 6. And then for kindergarten and for the middle school, Josh and I discussed this earlier today about using the CARES money. It was actually one of the recommendations that is be provided to fund summer school. They too have encouraged to offer summer school programming for our students. And since summer skill building signups are over, tomorrow morning, Mr. Bloom is sending out blasts to all of our families for the kindergarten, the first through 6th program, the middle school program. The high school has been working on their own, making phone calls, letters, etc. So they aren't going to get another blast because their counselors are doing that. But we're going to see if we can get more students involved, and again, allow them to use the district issued devices through this time so that they have something available for their use. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes. I have a question. With these classes, what's the criteria? Like, if we're switching them over to iReady and all the classes to iReady, or just say the elementary, for example, are we as a district or you checking these classes to make sure that they're up to standards, to make sure that the whole breadth of the summer school is going to be, you know what I mean? That it's not just
the iReady is what they're already using. So that is going to be the thing that is the constant. And then we are going to get our own teachers to put together these additional resources. So right now, our summer school program consists of our teachers choosing a theme and going theme-based and putting together their own activities appropriate for the different grade levels. So,
but they submit it to you?
Well, to Becky Logan. Becky Logan oversees the elementary. And so she'll be overseeing those proposals of what they're going to be putting online. And then Dawn Mungy will be overseeing the program as a whole. She will be the contact person for ESY. Oh, sorry, I should have said ESY is also going to be remote. ESY, and then the elementary summer school.
All right. Is there any way that we can hear the metrics of how good the students are doing in this online learning?
On the iReady, yes, and that's one of the reasons we want to hire the plan is to hire a teacher for each building so that they can be reaching out and staying on top of how the students are doing in their lessons.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? All right, well, that ends my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Irwin. Mr. Rand.
All right, thank you very much. My first item tonight is a recommendation to approve surplus property resolution at Windsor Instructional Services at the Administration Center and McChesney Elementary. There are no questions. My next item is a recommendation to accept the March 2020 Treasurer's Report. Are there any questions on either of those items? Next is a recommendation to approve the renewal quote for the Treasurer's Bond for next year FY21 with a limit of $14 million for a cost of $8,567 even. This is essentially a bond on me as the treasurer, and we have to bond a quarter of the money that we may have on hand at any given time. Are there any questions on that recommendation? The next is a recommendation to approve milk products renewal with Muller Pinehurst Dairy as there's numbers as attached for white chocolate strawberry milk for next year FY21. Any questions on the milk renewal?
If we could just note that because milk prices were going down and milk was being dumped, Josh did go back and get some lower prices.
We did get some lower prices, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Next is a recommendation to approve bakery product renewal with Alpha Bakery for FY21. The prices are, Gail has a memo and there's a prices listed. One product went up 9 cents for a pack of buns. Everything else stayed the same for pricing.
But you did say that you would probably take that out to bid next year?
You know, I gotta talk to Jill about what year we put that out. And often it depends on what those renewal pricings are. So we kind of evaluate that, like we'll request that pricing, see where they're at, and then kind of determine on that. So possibly we evaluate it each year.
Okay.
Any other questions for that? I have like 5 or 6 Heidi items tonight. So at Business Services, we talked a lot about some of these are teleservices, some of them are not. And then how will that work next year if we're not back in person to start the year with these services? So most of my discussion with Heidi was that a lot of these services are for IEPs and that we'll still need to meet the requirements of the IEPs. So that these services will still have to be provided. And so there's some of them that haven't been tele that will need to be, or we'll have to come up with a plan on how to properly meet those IEP minutes that are in those. So there wasn't many scenarios where we could just shut it off or we're not going to provide the service because of the way the IEPs are written. So does that answer the question? I know, Mike, you kind of had the question a little bit.
Yeah, no, the only thing is, I mean, so then we just need to have some kind of redundancy plan that says when this happens, so-and-so is going to make sure that said students are going to be meeting with that person during these, and then we have to give these kids allotted times that they can give them a window or something, because if they're in California, we can't theoretically like, hey, at the call of a notice, this kid needs help. So, I mean, I think a better plan would be just that written out would be good. But yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, Mickey, that sound good? All right. Mickey, Heidi, and I will work on that and make sure that's good. Okay, so with that being said, my first item is a recommendation to approve an independent contractor agreement with Speech Horizons, Inc. to provide private and parochial speech and language services for $100 per hour for up to 816 hours for the FY21 school year. This is funded through IDEA Part B flow-through and IDEA Pre-K grants. So for all of these, Heidi put a memo on there explaining what these services are. We've been working with Speech Horizons for a while. This is for our private and parochial schools, services for them. Any questions on that? Okay. So item 8 is a recommendation to approve a contract renewal with Sunbelt Staffing and Vocal Vision for teletherapist For school psych services and speech pathology services at a minimum of 30. I don't know what's making that noise. Can you guys hear it? Yeah. All right. There we go. So 37.5 hours per week for 36 weeks at a total cost of $385,398 even the FY21 school year. And this is paid for from the IDEA Flow Through Part B grant. So this is telepsych and telespeech, which we have already been doing for a few years now. Any questions on that? Okay. Item 9 is a recommendation to approve a contract renewal with Northwestern Illinois Association, or NIA, for needs assessment at a cost of $504,915 for the FY21 school year. And that is paid for out of IDEA Part B flow through. So there's an increase on that this year, and Heidi put that in the memo. That due to an increased need as a result of there's additional days of physical therapy due to student need for the service. The cost increase is $21,648.14. Any questions on the NIA agreement? So my next item is a recommendation to approve a contract renewal with Brex Database Solutions, Inc., or Embrace IEP, for website access and additional services at a cost of $24,340 for the FY21 school year. This is paid for out of ID Part B flow through and IDEA CEIS, which is Coordinating Early Intervention Services. It's within IDEA Part B flow through already. It's not separate. It's part of the same funding. So, and this is for 504 plans and MTSS. Any questions on it? Next is a recommendation to approve a resolution abating the working cash fund for $2,302,379.65. So this is the last piece after we issued the bonds, because the money is actually currently sitting in the working cash fund, and we have to transfer it to O&M and then transfer to capital projects. And that's how attorneys deem which funds are legal to transfer in which order. So this resolution will move it to O&M and then capital projects, where it will sit as we spend those funds. So are there any questions on the resolution to abate the working cash fund? Our last item is a recommendation to renew the agreement with Illuminate Education Fastbridge subscription for a cost of $12,250. That's a no-cost increase. That is for student monitoring progress for reading, math, and writing for MTSS and students with IEPs. Any questions on that? If there are no questions, then that is my report.
Thank you. Mr. Rollinson, your report.
Thank you, Larry. So my first item tonight is a recommendation to approve a total of 27 transfers. All of those transfers are in preparation for next school year. That's why there's so many of those tonight. We also are recommending a total of 2 employments. We are, sorry, I couldn't turn my page here. Recommending 1 employee who's using the Certified Staff Federation Bank. And tonight we're recommending a total of 2 new positions. One of those is a para-educator at Rock Cut Elementary as a result of a student's IEP. As you guys always know, that's what we bring those recommendations for. And the other one is for a 0.6 FTE career and technical licensed teacher at Harlem High School. So Shelley Wagner put this one together, so I'll just read a brief part of that for you guys. So the Harlem School District has been working to develop college and career pathways for our high school students in accordance with Every Student Succeed Act, the Post-Secondary Workforce Readiness Act, and the Harlem School District's long-range plans. As a part of this development, Harlem High School will offer a health science pathway that includes an athletic training track. In order to offer the health science pathway and athletic training courses, A teacher that has the credentials to teach the course is needed. Currently, we don't have any teachers on staff with those credentials. And so we're recommending a 0.6 FTE because this teacher will teach 3 periods the first semester and 3 periods the second semester. Also to note in the memo, in January, we have a teacher retiring. And so this overall for starting in January, this is a 0.6 FTE increase, but it'll actually be a 0.1 increase overall for the year. After that teacher retires, we don't plan on filling that position. Any questions on either of those new positions? Okay, and then informational for you guys tonight. Since we last met, we have accepted a total of 12 resignations. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Dr. Morris, your report.
I have one item this evening, and it's just an update on the senior events and activities. I had emailed you, back on April 24th, and I'm sure you've seen different announcements, and I just wanted to kind of put an update out there. So last week we had our yard sign and graduation items distribution day, and as I think Evelyn discussed in her report, it was a great day, and we had a lot of seniors come through. So we only have a few left to pick up their items. On May 13th, virtual senior awards night, that's the day after tomorrow. We're going to be posting that in the evening. I think it's at 7 o'clock. I can't remember exactly. I should have known that, sorry. But they're still working on the exact time as when they're going to post that, and they'll put that information out there. May 15th is the seniors' last day. And with that, May 13th, 14th, and 15th is the day that seniors are being asked to come and drop off their Chromebook, drop off their books, pick up their yearbook, pay fines that they may have outstanding, pick up their locker items. We've been busily working on getting everything packed up at all the schools. And then there are 74 students who did not pick up their signs last week. So hopefully they'll be coming through to pick those up as well. Their yard signs that they were given. So that's this week yet. And then May 20th is the baccalaureate video. Every year when they do baccalaureate, the advisors put together a video, Brad Sweet and Jenna James. And so they're going to put that video together and then post it on baccalaureate night. That was originally planned. Virtual graduation is coming along very nicely, and that's going to be May 23rd. And it will be at 10 o'clock in the morning at the regular time that we would have had it, and it will be streaming at that point. We changed the date for prom. We had a June 5th date, but that's certainly not going to work. So we did push it to July 10th, and that'll be held at the Tabala from 8 to 11 p.m. if we're able to have the prom this year. On July 25th is the in-person graduation date that we hope to be able to do at BMO Harris. However, Mr. Yarbrough and other people on his team are working on, if we can't do BMO, if that's just not ends up to be any kind of a possibility, they're working on some other ways that we can do something special for our seniors in person, to at least give them the opportunity to get their picture that they typically get when they go up, right before they go up on the stage. And then also for them to pick up their diploma and do that in some way that will be memorable for them. And then as Jill shared in her report, the Friday night lights, the lights for the fight are going, and they will go yet this week, and then next Friday, or the 22nd, will be the last day of the Friday night lights. And they have been very, I think we're the ones doing the greatest job in the area at really using that as a good time to celebrate. So I'm very excited and feel very proud of our staff for working through that. Any questions about the senior activities that we have?
I have a comment though, Julie. Isn't it the last night that we do it on the 22nd when Sinisippi is turning their lights orange also?
Yeah. Oh, are they? I didn't hear that. Just for Harlem or just in general?
They have different dates for all the different schools, and I believe ours was May 22nd.
I thought ours was the 29th.
Could be the 29th. I don't know.
May
I'd have
29th.
to, 29th was it?
Yeah, May
Oh,
29th.
So the week after, we're done.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll have one more week of celebrating. We'll just send everybody to Mississippi.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments of anything coming up? Okay. And that ends my report.
Thank you. Okay. With that, we need a motion and a second to approve consent agenda items A and C.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Meister, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
I can hear you.
Okay, Mr. Meister? Can-
Is he muted?
Looks like he's in trouble on.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
There he
I
is.
couldn't get it to go. Aye.
okay. Jill Brogan,
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Barger,
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan,
Aye.
Dr. Flanagan,
Aye.
Mr. Sterling,
Aye.
Okay, on to action items. We get a motion and a second to approve the resolution declaring surplus property.
Motion.
Second.
okay. Jill Brogan,
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Barger,
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan,
Aye.
Dr. Flanagan,
Aye.
Mr. Sterling,
Aye.
Mr. Meister,
Aye.
okay.
Okay, we get a motion and a second to approve the March 2020 Treasurer's Report.
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Barger,
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan,
Aye.
Dr. Flanagan,
Aye.
Mr. Sterling,
Aye.
Mr. Meister,
Aye.
Jill Brogan,
Aye.
okay.
We get a motion and a second to approve the renewal quote for the Treasurer's Bond FY21 with a limit of $14 million for a cost of $8,567.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Barger,
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan,
Aye.
Dr. Flanagan,
Aye.
Mr. Sterling,
Aye.
Mr. Meister,
Aye.
Jill Brogan,
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye.
We get a motion and a second to approve the milk products renewal with Muller Pinehurst Dairy as attached for the FY21 year.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Mrs. Brogan,
Aye.
Dr. Flanagan,
Aye.
Mr. Sterling,
Aye.
Mr. Meister,
Aye.
Jill Brogan,
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Barger,
Aye. Can we get a motion and a second to approve bakery product renewal with Alpha Bakery for FY21?
Motion.
Second.
okay. Dr. Flanagan,
Aye.
Mr. Sterling,
Aye.
Mr. Meister,
Aye.
Jill Brogan,
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Barger,
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan,
Aye.
We get a motion and a second to approve an independent contract agreement with Speech Horizons, Inc. to provide private and parochial speech and language services for $100 per hour up to 816 hours for the FY21 school year.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Sterling,
Aye.
Mr. Meister,
Aye.
Jill Brogan,
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Barger,
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan,
Aye.
Dr. Flanagan,
Aye.
We get a motion and a second to approve a contract renewal with Sunbelt Staffing, Vocal Vision, for the teletherapist for school psychological services and speech pathology services at a minimum of 37.5 hours per week for 36 weeks at a total cost of $385,300 $398 for the FY21 school year.
Motion.
Okay, Mr. Meister,
Aye.
Jill Brogan,
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Barger,
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan,
Aye.
Dr. Flanagan,
Aye.
Mr. Sterling,
Aye.
We get a motion and a second to approve a contract renewal with Northwestern Illinois Association for needs assessment at a cost of $504,915 for the FY21 school year. Motion.
second. Jill Brogan,
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Barger,
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan,
Aye.
Dr. Flanagan,
Aye.
Mr. Sterling,
Aye.
Mr. Meister,
Aye.
Can we get a motion and a second to approve a contract renewal with Brex Database Solutions, Inc., Embrace IEP, for website access and additional services at the cost of $24,340 for the FY21 school year.
Motion.
Motion.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Barger,
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan,
Aye.
Dr. Flanagan,
Aye.
Mr. Sterling,
Aye.
Mr. Meister,
Aye.
Jill Brogan,
Aye.
We get a motion and a second to approve the resolution abating the working cash fund of $2,302,379.65.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Barger,
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan,
Aye.
Dr. Flanagan,
Aye.
Mr. Sterling,
Aye.
Mr. Meister,
Aye.
Jill Brogan,
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye.
We get a motion and a second to approve renewal of an agreement with Illuminate Education Fast Bridge subscription at an annual cost of $12,250.
Motion.
Second. Mrs. Brogan,
Aye.
Dr. Flanagan,
Aye.
Mr. Sterling,
Aye.
Mr. Meister,
Aye.
Jill Brogan,
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Barger,
Aye. We get a motion and a second to approve recommendation for class of 2020 graduation requirements and total credits.
Motion.
second. Oh, it's my turn. Dr. Flanagan,
Aye.
Mr. Sterling,
Aye.
Mr. Meister,
Aye.
Jill Brogan,
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Barger,
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan,
Aye.
Okay. Do we have any announcements and discussion?
No specific announcements and discussion, but what I would like to recommend is that we go straight to the organizational part of the meeting, which is also an open session, and then move the executive session to the end, so we don't have to go out of this meeting, go into executive session, click back out and come into this. Since we don't have anybody who we're having to swear in and the same people are in both meetings, I would recommend that we do that first.
I'm okay with that. Is everyone else okay with that?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, we'll start with we adjourn this meeting, sign you die. And we will then open the annual organizational meeting. And we will start that. Do we still need to do roll call? Since we're still here, we
Yes.
still do roll call?
I think so, yes.
Okay, so we'll start with roll call.
Mr. Sterling? Mr. Sterling?
Yeah, here.
Okay. Mr. Meister,
Here.
Jill Brogan,
Here.
Mrs. Meeks, here. Mr. Barger,
Here.
Mrs. Brogan,
Here.
Dr. Flanagan,
Here.
Sorry, I was right when you had said my name.
Does anyone have any questions before we go through this? We're just going through and approving all of these different positions. Basically, the people were doing them before are going to continue doing them.
We have also, Larry, gone through and done all of these at the same time in one vote.
I thought we did that last year.
Yeah, we can, and we can pull any out that people would want to pull out separately. But I would, that's an option for us to do based on the whole virtual. That might.
Does anyone have any objections to voting for all of these at the same time?
No objection.
None.
No objection here.
No objection.
No
Okay,
objection.
thank you.
And Chris, just inform me, we have to do roll call for admins too.
Oh,
Okay.
that's right. Chris Arduino is on as the recording secretary. Julie Morris, superintendent.
Michelle Herb, curriculum and instruction.
Josh Rand, business and operations.
Scott Rollinson, human resources.
Hey, Josh, can you get Chris a mic? Put it in the budget.
I'll see if we can squeeze that in.
All right.
Okay. With that, we need a motion and a second to approve items in the annual organizational meeting, items A through U.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Meister,
Aye.
Jill Brogan,
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Barger,
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan,
Aye.
Dr. Flanagan,
Aye.
Mr. Sterling,
Right.
Okay. Julie, do we need to take a motion to go back into the regular meeting then? Did we lose her?
She says no.
No. Okay. Very good then. With that, we need a motion and a second to go into executive session to discuss employment of personnel.
And also, Larry, the
Yes.
closed, I'm trying to find it here. The discussion and lawfully closed meeting minutes.
Correct. I forgot the meeting minutes. So it's employment of personnel and the meeting minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Jill Brogan,
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Barger,
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan,
Aye.
Dr. Flanagan,
Aye.
Mr. Sterling,
Aye.
Mr. Meister,
Aye.